In this section, we're going to talk to you about guided reading at the secondary level to give you some ideas as to how, specifically, the ELAR department is helping our students improve their reading skills. As you can see in the definition, guided reading is a small group instructional context in which a teacher supports each reader's individual development of systems of strategic actions for processing new text at increasingly challenging levels of difficulty. This requires very targeted and intentional planning in order to meet students at their precise instructional reading level. By supporting students at their just right level, our goal is to improve student fluency and also to deepen their comprehension of what they read. With fluency, we're talking about the way the student interprets the letters and symbols on the text in order to create meaning. Specifically, we're looking for pausing, intonation, phrasing, rate, stress, and integration.
Last week, we met about something else. It's about reading with, do you remember what the word was?
Exclamation points, quotation marks, question marks.
Being able to read it with, if it has an exclamation mark, how would we read it? What would it sound like? Or what would we do if we were reading something that has an exclamation point?
Like loud.
Louder. Or if it's not louder, what would it be? If you have an exclamation point, it's sometimes louder, or it's
Exciting.
exciting, right? What about a question mark? If something has a question mark, then how might I read that?
Like if you're wondering something.
What did you say? Confused. So how would my voice go? If I'm reading that out loud, what would happen with my voice? If I have a question about something, would it be, do you know where my phone went? Would it be like that?
No.
How would it sound, Charlie?
Do you know where my phone went?
Do you know where my phone went? How would yours sound?
Do you know where my phone went?
Yeah, see? Now I know you're asking me a question, right? So what I want you to do is let's open our books to the Treasure Map Mystery, and let's work on those specific things. And what you're really telling me is what's called intonation. And what intonation is the different sounds your voice makes based on what the character is saying and how you think they would say it, based on those exclamation points, the question marks. So let's try it and let me see how you do. So we're working on, like you told me, periods, commas, exclamation points, and question marks, right? Okay, so Caroline, will you start us off and read to this line for me?
The treasure map. Ricky and Patches were in the yard. Ricky was cutting the grass. Tom rode his bike to Ricky's house. He stopped when he saw Ricky. He got off the bike and ran into the yard. Tom had a box in his hand.
Okay, so how do you feel you did with the pausing or stopping for the periods? It was all right? I think you did pretty good.
The next target area in guided reading is comprehension. Specifically, we are looking at different systems of strategic actions that help the students to process what they're reading and to create meaning. Most of this that we focus on in guided reading has to do with thinking within the text, where students are searching for and using information, monitoring and self-correcting, solving words, maintaining fluency, adjusting, and summarizing.
Second of all, we have a couple of words that are in the text that might be a little tricky. I think you know probably a bit. So grateful. Everybody know what it means to be grateful, like you're appreciative of what somebody does for you. Okay. Next one. Rude. Alright. If somebody's rude, they are inconsiderate, not doing kindness. Okay. Don't anything else for themselves. Alright. Grunt. Everybody know what it means to grunt?
It says unvanquished. So could you use your context clues to figure out what that word was? What the definition was? What did you come up with?
Well, I mean, I'm just looking at it now, but I'm thinking like not gone, like it, because like doesn't something like when it vanishes, it's gone.
Okay. What do you think, Jonathan?
Where again?
The unvanquished truth. It's in our title, and then it's also in the first paragraph. What do you think it means?
like the truth that has been told.
Okay.
Whole truth.
The whole truth? Okay. So, like, if something's been vanquished, it's been defeated. So,
Undefeated.
It's an undefeated truth. So, in other words, it hasn't been what?
Told?
Or proven wrong?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He says that he was called Kicker in preschool, right here on page 1. Why was he called Kicker?
Because he kicked everybody. Or kicked people.
Right. Okay. So he didn't use his words. So what does that tell you? What does that reveal to you about Max? If he was kicking people.
Anger issues?
He's aggressive.
Aggressive, anger issues. So he had some stuff he needed to work through, didn't he? He didn't really know how to say it in the right way.
By developing and practicing fluency and comprehension, we want students to internalize these strategies so that they can read for meaning at all times. Students will then use these skills independently with any text that comes their way.